So we're here with the awesome Lisa from Stylisa. I don't even know where to start with you. You've got your hands and your fingers dipped into so many incredible pies.
Too many.
I like it though. I love it. And I just don't know where to start because it's just like, what do we even talk about? Because you've just got such an incredible background of all the different things that you've done in life. And it's just ace. So I'm just going to leave the floor to you.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning. It's a very good place to start.
That's a good place, isn't it? Yeah.
So I think really for me, it all started when I was a kid.
Okay.
Which is well documented that, I was born here and then I left at the age of 1 and I travelled for the first 10 years of my life with my parents. So lived all over the world. We lived in America, we lived in Japan, we lived in Africa.
That's on my bucket list, Japan.
Yeah, very, very cool place. So yeah, it was that's kind of where my kind of interest in terms of exploration and different people and just experiencing different things kind of started. My parents were very much about introducing me to different kinds of people and ensuring that I understood that people are different and those differences should be celebrated. So it kind of all started there for me. But the other thing was as well, my dad, which was probably quite innovative of him at the time. He worked in jobs where he had to go to a lot of board meetings, so he would take me with him because he wanted to expose me to that environment in terms of, just because you're a girl and obviously being a black girl, it doesn't mean these spaces are closed to you. So he would take me to his meetings, and the two things I'd always remember, that we were always the only two people of colour. And there were never any women around the board table other than the women who came in and served the coffee, the biscuits. I always remembered that. Even though I was very young, I thought, there's something not quite right about this picture. And, even from a young age, I was very much about being at the top tables. I'd go home. I'd have my teddy bears and my dolls sat around my Fisher-Price.
Recreating it all.
I'd have meetings.
What happened to Fisher-Price?
My parents would come and join in.
What the hell happened to Fisher-Price?
I've still got my Fisher-Price phone. Those little phones you had.
I've got a table, and I did the same thing with the plastic chairs.
Hers as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I kind of got exposed to that from a very early age. So that kind of gave me an appetite for kind of being in leadership roles, and I kind of realised or figured out from a very early age that if I was going to do anything that was going to kind of change the world in my own way and help people, I was going to have to get to those tables. So that's kind of what started it all. And then at 16, I actually left school, got my GCSEs, left school, and I actually, rather than going into full-time education or staying in full-time education, I went and did a youth traineeship, which I don't do anymore. And it was with Zeneca Pharmaceuticals, which is now AstraZeneca. So I was a trainee graphic designer for 2 years, and then they took me on as a designer. And whilst I was there, I was able to study part-time as well. So I did my degree in graphic design at Manchester Metropolitan.
Love it.
So I did all that. And then from there, I've just done a whole host of things. Always had an interest in fashion because my mum and dad were really interested in fashion. Like in the 80s, my mum was very much into her power suits and her shoulder pads.
Shoulder pads. Oh my God. Bring back the shoulder pads.
She loved her Donna Karan, her Calvin Klein.
And
my dad was really into like Yohji Yamamoto and things like that. So I've had a very early introduction to fashion. And as well, what I really liked was when I was a kid, my pocket money was kind of on like a sliding scale. If I did really well, they'd kind of add interest on it.
You're kidding.
So I was like,
so you're like into finance straight away.
I'll get stuff. And that was my thing. So I can remember one particular day I'd done really well, and the teacher spoken to my mum about something, and she took me. My mum loved like clothes. She would always buy me dresses, so hence the reason I don't.
Oh no, this is just insane. This wasn't planned, by the way. Like we're in a flower shop and we're both wearing florals. Look at this, and we're behind a flower display. Not at all planned. Not at all, is it? No, we had no chats about this.
Not at all.
Not chats.
So my mum would always like buy me dresses and stuff. So I just developed a love for dresses and things like that, and that's kind of stayed with me. And then after AstraZeneca, I worked in a few other roles. I've worked in publishing, I've worked in education, I've worked in fashion, I've worked in the luxury retail sector. But then fast forward to about the early kind of 2000s, I worked as a fashion stylist for a while. I built my own website. set up my own Facebook group and Twitter account because Instagram wasn't like
no, it wasn't about, was it?
Time, which is hard to imagine, but it wasn't. And then I just started kind of putting myself out there. I got quite a bit of work as a stylist, but
that's incredible.
I started to gain more traction in terms of social media, and people were asking me about, you know, how do you do it? So I was just giving away bits of advice for free. And then as it turned out, I was getting more inquiries about social media than I was about styling, which worked really well for me because I actually found that I didn't like styling. I like shopping for myself.
Yourself, it's like I love all this, but if I have to do it for someone
else, it's just not for me. So I kind of sacked that off because I thought, I don't want to do this. But then Harrods came along, and I met somebody from there a few years before, and Sarah very kindly introduced me to a few people, and it led to me initially getting a 3-month contract with Harrods. So I thought, right, I may never get this opportunity again.
Snap it up.
I'm just going to take it. So I literally packed a suitcase, got on the train to London on the 31st of August 2010, and then started my job on the 1st of September.
No way!
So I literally started the job the following day.
Jeez. And no prep, no settling in, none of that jazz, just right back in it.
Throwing myself right into it. And within the first few weeks, I was having quite a bit of success in terms of the social media was growing and stuff like that. So then fast forward, I think 6 or 7 weeks to the contract, they created the role of social media manager and offered it to me. And I thought, you know what? I'm not ready to go back to Manchester yet. So I'm just going to take it.
I've still got stuff to do. I need to wrap this up.
And then, so I did that job for 7.5 years. It was absolutely amazing. I got to do all kinds of things. I got to travel the world.
Oh,
fashion weeks.
That's goals. That's just life goals, isn't it?
It was hard work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because obviously we were building it pretty much from scratch.
From the bottom.
I mean, they did have Facebook and Twitter, but the numbers were quite small.
Yeah.
And then that was when I joined Instagram. So I figured like, right, okay, the Facebook and the Twitter still exist, but they didn't have Instagram. And I thought, right, my plan is set an Instagram channel up. So I had to get approval for it, which I did. Yeah. But I wanted it to be the lead channel because it was the one that I set up. So I set myself a target of getting it to 1 million followers. And it took us about 6 years to do because we did it all organically.
0 to 1 million, that's amazing.
So, and I can remember the day we hit it, like the 23rd of January 2017. And I was
I
remember the time. It was
I was
like 27 minutes past 1 in the afternoon. I remember it. And I remember we were like celebrating with donuts and chips. I love chips. Everyone knows I love chips.
With cheese, without cheese, with gravy. There's a whole. We have to stop this conversation.
I like them with cheese, and I like them with gravy.
What, both cheese and gravy?
No, not all the time.
This is
like fish and chips, but
fish and chips. That's a whole other subject.
That's a whole other conversation. So did that, and then once I'd done that, I kind of was like, right, okay, I want to do something else now.
Yeah.
Which
I love your ambition, your drive. Like, it's like there's no stopping it. It's like once you've completed something or like done something, it's like, it's so good because a lot of people become quite complacent, don't they? They sort of sit back and they sort of like, oh, I've done that. I've sort of, I've dipped into it. I've got to, I'm just going to carry on and just plain sail through it. But it's so nice to then just bounce the next thing in your head, and that's incredible. That's such a lovely way to be.
For me, I think my mother thought I was a bit mental, which I think she does anyway. She's like, why would you leave that job? I love the job. I've done everything I wanted to do here, and there's other things I want to do. And I think as well, one of the things was, as a black woman, I was quite senior at Harrods, but it was that thing of, even though it was amazing and my colour was never an issue there, there weren't a lot of people in senior roles that looked like me, and it was just something that I'd always experienced. So then I thought, and plus I wanted to come home. I wanted to come back to Manchester. So I resigned from my job. I moved back to Manchester. And then I worked as a consultant advising people on marketing and various things. But what I did alongside that was I joined with 8 other black business professionals, and we set up the Black United Representation Network, which is focused on the economic and social empowerment of black people in the north of England. We did initially start with Manchester, but then quickly realised that there was a much greater need. So I joined there, and I was the managing director for a year. But I'm still on the board, so I stayed on the board and was the MD for just over 12 months, and then got like that itch to do something else. So then I went to work for an award-winning training provider called Acacia Training. So I was the marketing inclusion director, and I was there for like about 14 months. And very fortunately for me, the CEO, Victoria Sylvester, very entrepreneurial, very kind of a bit like me, has always wanted to try different things. And I think I had a conversation with her because I joined there and realised that actually, as great as it was, this wasn't the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to explore, because I'm really into the idea of exploring the fullest realms of your own potential. So I had a chat with her, and she was super, super supportive. So I left that job last year.
I feel like you should be 100 years old right now.
Probably not far. I'm not going to say how old I am.
Because I'm just like, how is this possible in just a time frame? It's crazy, isn't it?
Over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So, but in, whilst I was having those conversations, what I was doing was I was prepping for the kind of various things that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So I have a really great business partner, Carver, his name is. He does all the kind of technical websites, all the stuff that I can't do. So, we worked on my website, we built things, we did things, but in the midst of all this, I started renting out my wardrobe.
This is where I'm fascinated. This is the massive fascinating.
So when I moved back from London, I literally moved back with a house full of, I've still got boxes in my house that I have not unpacked, and I've been home for over 7 years.
I want to know how many, because when I see how many dresses and how many clothes you've got,
1,000 dresses.
1,000 dresses. Yeah. Do you know that film, 27 Dresses? You're trying to cram everything in that wardrobe.
I wouldn't.
How many wardrobes have you got?
I don't have a wardrobe. I have a room. So my master bedroom is just full of. It literally looks like a shop. There's just rails on the walls. Full of clothes, and there's shoe boxes, and literally I can't. That'd
be like heaven for me. I just walk in and just be like sparkling light.
I want to get the house done, so I have to do something with it all. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time.
Storage unit, I hear.
So I was sitting. It was during lockdown, and I came across this article that talked about the benefits, the economic, the financial and sustainable benefits of renting your wardrobe. I thought, I don't really want to rent my wardrobe. I really like my dresses, but I don't wear most of them anymore. Because a lot of that stuff I had for attending events or going to fashion week, and obviously I don't do that anymore. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try with one dress and see what happens. I put one dress on a rental platform, and that got quite a few rental requests, and then I was like, right, okay, I added a few more on, and then it got to the stage where I was having to turn requests down because I only have one of each piece. So I'm not a shop.
No.
So it was like,
I don't know, actually you do have a shop.
I mean, I do, but that's for my own
personal,
usage. So then it kind of ballooned from there, and made quite a bit of money out of it, which I wasn't and like I say, it started by accident, and then lots of people were asking me about it. So then last year I worked on and developed a course, kind of rent, wear and share, turn your clothes into cash. So I did that.
Love that.
And it's generated quite a lot of press. And then through that, I've done quite a bit of television, which was not related to the rental specifically, but I've done quite a lot of media stuff. And I thought, I quite like doing this as well. So that's another thing that I do. So I've ended up now, fast forward to present day, I sit on, there's a really serious side of my career where I sit on boards and I read papers and all this kind of stuff.
It's very serious.
P&Ls and very sensible. And social justice, and then there's the other side where I'm obsessed with pink and everything in my house.
Haven't you shown everybody underbit?
Oh, the underbit.
The bit. Can you see that? How beautiful is this?
Got pink lining. I've got pink socks on. I've got
and the trainers.
Yeah, I've got pink on my trainers. So I'm.
We're all about bright colours and pink.
My favourite colour is pink, if you haven't guessed. So now fast forward to present day, I'm doing quite a few different things. Like I say, there's the serious side, which I'm really passionate about, but then there's the fashion side, which is the more creative side, and that's allowing me to explore other things in terms of doing media, because I feel like I need to offset the serious stuff with a bit of fun stuff as well.
And you've got such an incredible personality as well. It's so nice. So I'm just so vibrant and
doing tons and tons of things.
Oh, I love it. Honestly, it's brilliant.
So that's where I'm at now. And then obviously myself and Len. Hamilton, we're going to be launching our podcast in the not too distant future. And pinning down to get
where's Len? Where is he? Where's Len? He's hiding behind the plants.
So we're going to be launching the No Shortcuts podcast, and basically what that's going to be about is talking to people who've been on a real journey to get to where they are. Because I think in today's age with social media and TikTok and going viral, there is a feeling that success just happens like that. I have been I don't mind sharing how old I am. I'm 46. So I've been working since I was 16.
Oh, so I've been you look amazing. Like Jesus Christ.
So I've been working.
What do you use on your face?
E45. Don't put that in because I don't give it free advertising.
Quick, where's E45 tagging? Gonna get bottles now lined up along the wall.
So I think the thing I've been working for a long time, as has Len. And I think what I tend to find is that many years ago I had an agent, and she was telling me about this musician she used to represent.
Yeah.
And one of the questions a journalist asked him was, what does it feel like to be an overnight success? And he laughed and said, it's taken me 20 years to be an overnight success.
They just thought it was just like
that. Yeah, and that's the thing. It just isn't. I think with social media now, a lot of people feel that, you know, you can just go online, you can go viral. And I know for some people it happens, like the whole demure thing.
I know. Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool for them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen to everyone.
No.
So the podcast is really an opportunity for us to really sit down with a varied group of people and talk about what their journey has been, the challenges that they face, and how they've gotten to where they are.
That's brilliant.
You know, over a period of time. Yeah. So that's exciting. So
brilliant.
Lots of things going on.
That's amazing, especially when you say about that as well, because you think, like you said about the whole success from going 0 to 100, and we're starting from scratch, and we're so excited to have like just over 100 followers, because those 100 followers are like they're people that we've gained in terms of who just getting ourselves out there, and the people who want to follow us. They must be mad. You must be mad.
I'm sure
but they are. I mean, at the start it was just sort of friends and family looking at stuff, and it's brilliant. But now we're starting to sort of get ourselves out there and be ourselves for once. It's been so lovely. And starting from scratch, it's just, that's how it should be, I think.
Definitely. I think, you know, I'm very much about, like I said before, I'm very much about this idea of really kind of taking the risk to really explore the fullest realms of your own potential, because I'm a firm believer that most people have more potential than they actually give themselves credit for. But you know, for some reason that potential is not always realized, which is for a whole host of reasons.
Definitely,
and I just think it's really important. I think, you know, when it comes to like social media and things like that, I think what I love about it is it's less of a numbers game now. It's like actually it's more about the quality of your following rather than the quantity, because you could have thousands of followers, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to convert
into anything.
I think
absolutely.
I would rather have 100 engaged followers who support me and you know, support everything I do and follow my journey, as opposed to like 100,000 followers and the conversion rate on that is less than 0.0 whatever percent. So I think it's that.
I totally agree. And
Film it.
Sorry, man. This is a toilet.
You just popped into the toilet. It's alright. We'll call you. It's alright.
So it's
because we're looking at we do that, and you can get in your head so much as well. And I think that's massive. When we first started, we're sort of trying to jump from 0 to 100 and go, well, these people are like, not necessarily got all the followers, but they've got this just incredible just journey, and we're just looking at their 10-year goal or 20-year goal, and we're just starting out and it's been 2 weeks. So we're just, which is mad.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you've got to remember, like, you know, since the pandemic and lockdown, the world has changed massively. So like 5-year strategies, you know, that's not really a thing anymore. You've got to really, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got a long-term plan, but I have to be very adaptable. You can't just think, right, this is my plan for the next 5 years, because
it's all written down. It's in marker pen.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or the week after. So I think you have to be very agile and you have to be really flexible.
And open to it as well, because not a lot of people are open. They're very sort of set within their ways and how things should be. And I think that when you have that diversity and changes that come about, it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant in terms of just going with it. And I always think it's one of those things, like you're not a tree. You don't have to stay in one place. Everything changes, and your journey is literally completely justified that. Like, you've been all over the place and done such incredible things, and got to the point where you know when you've accomplished something, you've got everything out of it, you're moving on to the next thing. And that's just amazing. It's amazing to come across someone like you.
But there's a whole sensible side to it as well, obviously, because you know, I think people follow me and think, oh, I just up and do this and do that. It's like I'm a very sensible. It's like, you know, I have to make sure that my finances are right,
definitely. Rather than just get up and walk.
I don't just get up and think, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna move to London, or
why not?
I'm just gonna move to Paris for 6 months. It's like there's a lot. I mean, I'd like to do that. There's a lot of planning and stuff that goes into that goes behind these things, and that's the bit that people don't see. They see the fun side, but they don't see the really dull.
You don't see the nitty gritty underneath.
Sorry.
You're alright. You can go fast now. I was waiting for you to crawl.
By the way.
We need a roly-poly.
It's not clean though. No,
it's not clean, but it's alright. We're back roll. Woo!
Look at the dirty top.
That's alright.
We like drama. We're all about drama.
No worries.
That's great. I lost my train of thought. do. What space, you know? Yeah. Oh God, very well. I can't remember what we're saying now.
We were talking about Paris.
Oh yeah, Paris.
Yeah.
All the baguettes and all the lovely, beautiful things. Yeah.
Too much nice wine in Paris.
Oh my God, I wouldn't ever leave. That's the thing. I'd go in there like a size 8 and come out like a size 20 something. I don't know. I'd be like sitting there eating pastries all the time. Yeah, it'd be beautiful. Yeah.
So got a few other things up my sleeve. Yeah, but I'm gonna focus on the things that I've got enough for now.
Yeah.
So I think the podcast is the last project that I'm gonna take on.
Try,
for now. I know I've said that something else will pop up.
I was good. Yeah. It's brilliant. Though. Yeah, it's brilliant. Good. Like you say, not just having time frames to do certain things, but you're just. It's just I love the fact that you, like you said, about the potential, and everyone's got so much potential, and to do so many different things. I think it's just having the confidence half the time to be able to realise how good you are as a person and what you can do and what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the major thing, just to sometimes get people just to step out of their comfort zone to go, do you know what, I'm capable of doing something incredible. Or if it's creative or something, whatever they want to do, it's giving people sort of that boost. And when they start seeing other people doing it and it becomes more real and real chat and real life, and like I say, starting from the bottom, doing proper things, it's fab. I just
think as well, you get one life. You know, you don't get to do this again.
You don't. This is no trial run. This is it.
What's the worst that can happen? Because I can remember when I moved to London, I thought, you know, worst happens. Yeah. I'll go back to Manchester, which I had no intention of doing at the time.
That was like that.
But it was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? And I think once you put things in place, because I think that, like I say, it's all well and good people thinking, oh, you've done this, you've done it. There's a whole, like I said, boring side to it, which is not
the
fun.
background,
like the back end stuff.
Yeah,
you know, making sure you've got enough money in your account, making sure you can
survive.
I've got to pay my council tax this week. You know, you've still got to do all of that stuff. But I think you know, if you can find a way to make it work and you're willing to put the work and the effort in, I think people can pretty much do whatever they like.
Yeah.
But it's having that self-belief as well.
I do agree.
And not giving a shit, basically.
Yeah, never give a shit, just do it.
I just do it, much to my mother's dismay. She's just like, oh God, what are you going to do today?
That's what we get. We're like, why don't you just get a normal job and just get a house and then, you know, maybe just settle down. I'm like, nah, this sounds so much more exciting.
Like my mum was like that when I first moved to London and I had the job, and my mum was like, oh, you know, but you know, when are you going to get a proper job, Lisa? Because you can't sit on Facebook all day. And I was just like, that is not what I do. Like, literally, it was only when that quite a big title wrote a piece about how Harrods is making headway in terms of social media and leading in the space.
That's all down to you.
And she was like, oh,
that's
oh,
what
right,
you do.
So that's your job. And I'm like, at this point, I've been there like 2.5 years.
She just realised, yeah.
Oh, yes, Mum, that's my job. So that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
good. Yes, Mum, it is. It means I get paid.
It's good.
I can pay my
rent.
I
can pay my rent. Ching ching.
Yeah, she just didn't think I had a proper job for a very long time.
It's great. Like, it's funny how they think like that as well, isn't it?
But that was the thing. When I first started in that role didn't exist. You know,
it's a whole new game.
Social media managers are 10 a penny now, but at the time there were very few.
Yeah.
So everyone thought that people who, like myself, we just sat on Facebook all day. Which to a degree was true, but we were actually
also
working.
For Harrods, what an incredible company as well to do it for. That's amazing.
So my friends were like, do you really want to leave? I'm like, well, for me, I'd done everything I wanted to do, and my thing was, well, whoever comes in after me, I will always be the person who came in and worked with them to get it off, you know, to get it off the ground and put them on the map. So it doesn't really matter for them. And plus, they weren't my channels; they didn't belong to me.
But you're you created them.
But I've got it on my CV. So
that's amazing.
I mean, I missed my discount, but you know, I'm not going to get into that. The first time I bought something, a luxury item. I forgot that I didn't work there anymore, so I just went to pay for it.
But did you go on that and be like, oh, I still work here with a little card? Is there like a little discount card you can get in?
I was like, oh, and they said the full price, and I'm like, why are you saying the full price? I was like,
I don't work at Harrods anymore.
And then I just handed my card over very grudgingly.
Yeah, and you're like, oh God, no.
I looked at him and thinking, why is he giving me that price? And I suddenly thought, oh yeah. Okay.
I'll be looking around and be like, anyone want to help out on this?
Anyone want to buy me this handbag? I'm very grateful.